Okay, so you want to own a casino. Neon lights, a packed floor, the sound of slot machines chiming at 3 in the morning, high rollers dropping thousands of dollars on a single hand of blackjack without blinking. You picture the money just sitting there in the vault, growing every single night the doors are open. Walk into any casino on a Friday night, and it looks like the easiest business in the world. Every table is full. The slot floor is glowing. People are lined up at the cage to buy more chips. You watch that scene, and you think, this place must print money. The house always wins. Simple. Here's the problem. You're looking at the one night of the week that lies to you the most. The truth is a casino is not really a gambling business. It is a real estate and financing business that happens to have slot machines in it. And the moment you understand that difference, everything about how a casino makes money and how it can lose an almost unbelievable amount of money despite the house always winning starts to make sense. Before we talk about money, we need to be precise about what kind of casino we're talking about. A commercial casino is privately owned and heavily taxed. A tribal casino is owned by a federally recognized Native American tribe on sovereign land, operating under a completely different legal and tax structure most outside investors can never actually own a piece of. An online casino is a technology and payments business wearing a casino's branding. This script focuses on the commercial land-based casino, the one most people picture, and the one with the most brutal economics of all. Here's the first number that stops almost everyone before they even open the doors. In Nevada, a full casino license carries an application fee alone of around $500,000. And once you add the annual fee and mandatory background investigation costs, the real all-in first-year cost of simply becoming licensed can land between $1, $2 million, and $1, $8 million before you've bought a single slot machine. New York State's licensing process has required a one-time license payment of $500 million, on top of a minimum $500 million commitment to actually build the facility. This is not a business you start with a small business loan and some sweat equity, and that's before construction. A full-scale destination casino resort routinely costs hundreds of millions to multiple billions of dollars to build. The gaming floor needs reinforced flooring to support hundreds of slot machines, specialized electrical infrastructure, thousands of surveillance cameras, and a cage and vault system built to bank-grade security standards. Because unlike almost any other retail business, a casino is required to physically store enormous sums of cash on site every single night. A single high-end slot machine costs $15,000 to $25,000 to buy outright, and a serious floor needs hundreds, sometimes over 1,000 of them. Many operators lease machines instead or enter revenue-sharing deals where the manufacturer takes a cut of what that machine earns, which protects cash flow early on, but quietly hands away a slice of your best-performing inventory forever. None of this is optional. Here's where the naive mental model completely breaks down, and it's the single most important idea in this entire business. People assume a casino makes money because gamblers are unlucky. That's not quite it. A casino makes money because of a mathematical constant called the house edge, and it's one of the most reliable revenue engines in the history of commerce, precisely because it doesn't depend on any individual outcome at all. Take roulette. On an American 00 wheel, the house edge is 5, 26%. For every $100 wagered over a large enough number of spins, the casino statistically keeps $5, 26. Blackjack, played with perfect strategy, can run a house edge as low as 0, 5%. Slot machines typically carry a house edge of somewhere between 2% and 15%, meaning the machine is programmed and independently audited to pay back somewhere between 85 and 98 cents of every dollar wagered over its lifetime. This isn't a guess or a hustle. It's a legally mandated, state-audited percentage, verified by regulators on a recurring basis. Here's what makes this genuinely powerful. The casino does not need to win any specific hand, spin, or night. A whale can walk in and win $500,000 at blackjack in a single evening, and the business model is completely unaffected because the house edge is a law of large numbers, not a promise about any single event. Run millions of individual bets through that math over a year, and the variance of any single night gets swallowed by sheer volume. The casino isn't betting against you. It's running a very large, very precise probability machine and charging a toll for every spin of the wheel. This is where it gets counterintuitive. You'd think the ideal customer is a big spender making huge bets. But whales, the industry's term for high rollers, are also the single most dangerous variable in a casino's financial model because of volatility. A tourist playing $20 hands generates predictable, low-variance revenue. A whale betting $100,000 a hand can, on a genuinely unlucky night, walk away having taken millions directly out of the cage, large enough enough to move a casino's quarterly earnings report. This is why casinos maintain a bankroll reserve, a legally required minimum amount of cash size to survive a statistically unlucky run against their biggest players. Here's a number that surprises almost everyone outside the industry. A serious casino resort can spend somewhere between 20% and 30% of its gaming revenue on complimentary rooms, meals, drinks, and entertainment given away to its best customers. None of that is generosity. It's a customer acquisition cost calculated with the same cold precision as the house edge itself, using a system called theoretical win, based on a player's average bet, hands per hour, and a house edge for that game. For high-end players, casinos also rely on junket operators, independent agents who recruit wealthy gamblers, arrange their travel, and take a commission on the revenue those players generate, a system that's been a source of massive regulatory exposure, sometimes tied to money laundering investigations. A commercial casino operates under one of the most intensive regulatory regimes of any legal business in America. Every dealer and cashier needs a licensed gaming credential, and federal law requires reporting any cash transaction over $10,000. A mid-sized casino employs a compliance department of dozens of people whose entire job is making sure the operation never gives regulators a reason to suspend the license, because a suspended license can end the business overnight. If the house edge is a guaranteed mathematical advantage, how does a casino ever lose money? It's not the gambling that kills a casino. It's the debt used to build it. Consider the Revel Casino Hotel in Atlantic City. It cost $2.4 billion to build, one of the most expensive casino resorts ever constructed on the East Coast. It opened in 2012 with enormous fanfare. 2 years later, it closed, having never turned a sustained profit. The property was eventually acquired out of bankruptcy for $110 million, roughly 5% of what it cost to build. The house edge worked exactly as designed on every single spin inside that building. The problem was that $2.4 billion in construction debt required a level of sustained revenue that the property, competing in an oversaturated market, could never generate quickly enough to service. Revel wasn't alone. Atlantic City lost multiple casinos within a few years, properties that had been boardwalk fixtures for decades, as new casinos opened in neighboring states and pulled away the exact regional customer base those older properties depended on. None of that happened because the house edge stopped working. It happened because the fixed costs, the debt payments, the property taxes, the payroll kept arriving every single day, while revenue depended entirely on foot traffic that could evaporate the moment a newer competitor opened its doors. Let's put real numbers on this. A mid-sized regional commercial casino might generate somewhere between $100 million and $300 million a year in gross gaming revenue. State gaming tax rates vary enormously, from around 15% in Nevada to over 50% of gross revenue in states like Pennsylvania for slot machines. That tax is not on profit, it's on revenue, taken off the top before the casino covers a single other expense. After state gaming tax, subtract payroll for a workforce that can run into the thousands, comps running 20 to 30% of gaming revenue, marketing, debt service, property tax, insurance, and compliance costs. A well-run, well-located regional casino can land a net profit margin somewhere in the range of 10 to 20%. A poorly located casino, or one carrying too much construction debt relative to its market size, can post a net loss even while the gaming floor runs at healthy volume every single night, for exactly the same reason Revel did. In the optimistic scenario, you've built or bought a casino in a market with limited nearby competition, and you've financed the construction conservatively enough that debt service doesn't consume the majority of your margin. The house edge does exactly what it's mathematically supposed to do month after month. Under those conditions, a well-run regional casino can be one of the most consistently profitable business models in commercial real estate, because unlike a restaurant, your core product literally cannot have a bad quarter mathematically as long as enough volume passes through the door. In the realistic scenario, a new casino opens 45 minutes away in a neighboring state, pulling away a meaningful share of your customer base. Your comp spend creeps upward because you're fighting to retain players who suddenly have another option. Debt service, fixed the day you sign a construction loan, doesn't move an inch regardless of how many fewer people walk through your doors. A regulatory investigation into your junket operators triggers a costly settlement. None of these individually would sink a healthy business. Stacked together over a few bad years, they can turn a property with a packed floor every Friday night into another Revel, mathematically undefeated at every table, and financially bankrupt anyway. So if you do decide to build or buy a casino, casino, remember the one thing that actually determines whether you succeed. It was never really about whether the house wins. The house always wins. It's about whether the building underneath the house can survive long enough for that edge to matter.